2, 1.
Kate Mueller-Falcher, welcome to Irish Granny Helen, and welcome to my guest, painting healer, Elspeth. Elspeth, we should be honest. I told you, I can't lie. I get all red. This is our third attempt.
Third
attempt.
Going on 13. That's right. Yes.
Yeah, first attempt on your channel. I won't even go into the brutal description of what we've been through. We have reintroduced ourselves to each other so many times. We've exhausted all dramatic awards. I don't think we can pretend anymore that we don't know each other and everything about each other. So for the sake of other people, if you could give us a little rundown of your background, your family, and how you got into what it is you do, which is absolutely fascinating. Okay.
All right, but only if you promise to act surprised each time I reveal some information.
Act.
All right. Let me begin. I am Elspeth. I go by the Painting Healer. I'm from Canberra, Australia. Don't go there unless you have to visit the embassy. It's quite boring, but it's a good place to grow up because I was at the bottom of Mount Ainslie and there was a lot of bushland and I saw kangaroos and kookaburras and echidnas on a regular basis and snakes, sometimes snakes and spiders, but it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's not that dangerous. It's just
I think of Australia as a country of really warm, friendly people, and every single animal is venomous.
Oh, I thought you said feminist for a second there. Yes, every single animal is feminist.
Venomous.
Same.
Yep, that's right.
Well, you know what? You guys have grizzly bears over here, so I mean, we don't have that. But yeah, sure. Yeah, we do. We have a lot of poisonous animals. It's good to be aware. It's a dangerous place for tourists that don't read up, for sure. Yes.
I cannot imagine going someplace like Australia that has extremes in environment and not understand where you're going and where I mean that Taurus. I would be so prepared.
Sagittarius. I go there and I figure it out when I'm there.
Oh,
and that's
God, that's my husband. Oh my God. Oh, look, there's a dirt road. Let's see where that goes. And I'm losing my mind. Okay.
Oh, surprise crocodiles. Oh.
Oh, look, we're in another dead-end industrial parking lot. That's more my story.
As long as it makes a great story, then I want to go see it.
So tell us about your family.
All right. Very small family. Both parents were artists. I didn't have any siblings. So I had a lot of pets, actually, a lot of pets and a lot of time on my hands to just, sit and draw with art materials and explore my imagination. And, I thought that was kind of the normal experience for most everybody. But I came to find out that not everyone has like psychic visions when they paint. So at first, So it's something I explored when I was around 8 years old, and I started giving free readings to anyone who would listen, grown-ups, kids, whoever, and I was not prepared for that aspect. I'm sure anyone watching who is a new reader or had the experience of like their first readings just jumping in all gung-ho, it's like careful what you wish for because it can be really intense and you can come across information that is not you're not ready for, or the person you're delivering it to is not ready to receive.
Well, yeah, you were telling me earlier about an 8 being 8 and telling people, well, your parents are going to get divorced.
Yeah, and they didn't mind. They were like, oh, it's a bit of a laugh. But then they went home and told their parents. And some of it was true. And that didn't go very well. So then the phone calls started coming in about, oh, your daughter is very strange. And how did you know? No one knows the details about impending divorce. And that's not, So I got myself into a bit of trouble there. And I shut it down as best as I could. And, you know, I felt very ashamed. And it was, yeah, popped out sometimes as I got older. And, you know, I was in college and you go to parties. And after a few drinks, I started reading everyone in the room. And that wasn't a great idea either. So I learned about boundaries. But, you know, it never went away. I just had to turn the music up louder when I was making art, because it was most prevalent when I was making art. It was sometimes would come through when I least expect it, you know, just riding the subway or something. I would get a hit about someone, or, you know, sometimes the news, or watching a film, I could anticipate what someone was going to say right before they said it, that kind of thing, or telepathy with friends or,
Mhm.
you know, companions. But in the last few years, I feel like I've been doing a lot of sort of course correcting my own life. You know, midlife, there's something to be done. And with the state of the world, it was just like,
Midlife? You look like you're 12. Are you
let me turn the
serious?
lights off and you'll see all the wrinkles. Yes, well, I hope I'm the third of my way to the life. It'd be amazing to live to 125. Wouldn't that be cool? No, I don't think so.
No.
No, I don't know about that.
Mm.
I'm midlife. This is good. But, you know, it's sort of like, all right, well, I've done all these things. What's next? Like, I'm starting to realize, like, there's no one to impress. There's no safety net. There's no job you're going to keep for 30 years. Well, as a Sagittarius, that was never going to be my path anyway. But as the world seems to be changing and sort of falling apart to hopefully fall back in place, I thought, you know, this is my moment to really explore things that I've put on the back burner. Like, I noticed that every time I was ill or depressed, I would watch videos on psychics. It's sort of like my comfort. It's my, you know, something that I've always felt very resonant with since I was a child. And I got a reading just over a year and a half ago, and I was looking to like change careers. I was like, this art thing is not going to cut it. Like, with Trump in power, like I might have to. In fact, my family is looking to move to Ireland. I co-parent, so where they go, I want to be close by. And so they're making plans to go to Ireland, and I was like, oh my god, I need to suddenly like find a job that pays a lot better, or at least gives me the flexibility to up and move to another country if I need to. So I started learning cybersecurity because I was like, well, I'm not interested in it, but it feels like doing good in the world, and I have an investigative mind, and I'm pretty intuitive, and it seems to pay pretty well, and that's what I need right now. So this art stuff will just have to be a hobby. And I thought, oh, let me just get a second opinion. So I got a reading, and I was like, am I on the right path? And she said, aren't you an artist? I was like, yeah. Don't tell me stuff I already know, you know. She's like, but you have strong mediumship skills too. And I was like, yeah. Like I said, I woke up in the wrong decade. Obviously, like it's not, I don't know how to apply it in a way that's going to be meaningful to people, and also like help me in my life. Like, I might need to move to Ireland right quick. And she said, no. Have you been combining those two things? And I said, well, not out loud. I mean, yes, I've been doing portraiture professionally for 15 years, but I never share the stories that I'm receiving. And most of my clientele, they happen to be paying tribute to someone that's died. And yes, when I'm doing the portrait of someone, like I get so much information, what they like to eat, what they listen to, flashes and memories and stuff like that. But I never shared it with anyone because I didn't want to seem crazy. But I did notice that a lot
Too late.
Too late. As the world got crazier, I was like, who cares, right? Who cares?
Blend in. Yeah.
Crazy is the new, like, helpful, maybe. So I noticed that a lot of my clientele wanted to share information with me about their beloved that had passed on. Like my parted son. He loved to eat this or listen to that. And they wanted to share. And I thought, you know, I think I should probably lead with this information and make it a service. And when Rosie, the psychic from YouTube, she's wonderful, when she suggested that, she said, no, you really need to put those things together and just say it, make it known. This is it. This is your purpose. She said, I went to art school. I never recommend people like follow their artistic dreams. I never recommend it. It's not usually something that turns out well.
You can't survive on it. Yeah.
Right. I usually recommend like have a backup plan, learn something else, you know. But she said, but for you, this is very important. And actually, you could really be helping people. And she said it in a way that like really resonated. And I wasn't expecting it. And it suddenly made so much sense to me. And, you know, I actually went to film school 20 years ago because I didn't want to be like my parents. My parents are both artists as well. I didn't want to be the same. I didn't want to seem like I was copying them. So I went to film school because just that common thread of wanting to have a shared experience with people and transmute like heavy emotions into art, and that was something I was very interested in. But I had so many creative outlets. I play music, I draw, I love to direct actors when I was there. It's all about energy. It's all about working with energies. I also have this thing where I think it's called synesthesia. Can't pronounce it.
Oh, that's fascinating. I
So
love that.
I think Cash Peters has that as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
My brain connects colors with sounds and images. So, for example, every number has a color in my mind. Days of the week, for example, Wednesday to me is pink. And so sounds have colors as well. When I'm writing music, I also see colors associated. And if the colors don't match, I'll change the music. It's like they're part and parcel. So yeah, this has always been a huge feature of my inner world, my inner life. I felt like I could never really fit into the world and make it apply to what people, I couldn't find my place. And it's actually one of those blessings in disguise, because I know the value of it now, because when I was 8 and I was reading everyone, I didn't have all the life experience or all the parts weren't fully together yet. And so I'm glad that I had like a second go around, because in the meantime, I had other experiences, like when I lived in New York and I was trying to find a way to apply this creativity that felt so urgently wanting to come through. I even did a past life regression because I was like, I feel so bothered and sort of obsessed by this urgency to be an artist in my life, and I can't see how I'm ever going to make that happen in this world where there was Photoshop at the time. Now there's AI. I was like,
don't worry, AI is no challenge. It doesn't hurt. Sorry.
And I felt very depressed about that, because I kept trying to have a good attitude and learn all these other skills. I was visitor services manager of the Brooklyn Museum. I learned how to be a pastry chef, and I learned all these skills.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, that was my last job. Just 3 weeks ago, I quit my day job as a pastry chef. Now I am a full-time artist. It actually came to be, but it was after leaning into this new idea of like having the courage to blend the psychic medium skills with the art, which to me were never separated. They were always one and the same. I mean, when I go to paint something, I see it so clearly in my mind's eye, and then it's just about trying to catch up with that vision, trying to paint what I already saw, which is, you know, using my third eye. But
well, don't minimize that ability, because I'll tell you what, whatever that step is between what you're visualizing and what ends up on the paper, that's a gigantic gap for most of us. I have no idea how you cross that and make that jump and translate a visual onto a piece of paper. It's just remarkable to me. I have to ask you something. I'm sorry to interrupt you because
Oh,
this
no,
is
no.
really interesting, but I want to ask it in case we don't get to it because I have to go in about half an hour because we've spent an hour screwing around with this stupid technology and I don't even want to go there. I'm dying to know this. So you did a few videos on the Nancy Guthrie situation. And I'm wondering, and you might have said this before, I don't know, have you ever worked with law enforcement to find a missing person or identify a perpetrator, or have you ever been asked to do that?
I have not done that as of yet. I would be open to it. That mini series that I did was my first experience in really trying to paint from a vision that I saw rather than the other way around. Usually I paint from a picture and then lots of other information comes out. Like I started by painting Nancy's portrait, going from a visual reference, looking at her photo. And as I look into her eyes and paint around the different parts of her face, then it's almost like she starts talking to me. And I, was seeing what she was seeing, like in those moments.
That's kind of the mediumship aspect of it.
Right.
Right.
But then during that first episode, where I was seeing what she saw a glimpse of one of the perpetrators' face. Because I saw that she, like, her body like went into collapse and he took his mask off to see what the hell was happening. And he felt safe enough because she was like out. And so her spirits like caught a glimpse of his face, and that's how I was able to see his face. And someone in the comments was like, well, can you paint it? And I was like, oh, that hadn't really occurred to me. So I thought, okay, well, I still work better from a visual reference. So if I had to reference his face, it's like the act of painting alone is like, there are two parts. One part is like the meditation I go into before I start painting. I get a lot of visuals there. But then when I'm painting, it's helpful to have a photo reference. So it's like my hand just goes on automatic and it accesses the part of my brain that is sort of in a trance that starts accessing the messages.
No, it is a trance. Did you know that? They've done studies.
Oh.
And so creative occupations like knitting,
yes,
sewing, anything, painting, you actually do go into an altered state that's measurably similar to meditation or hypnosis.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. I don't do drugs. I don't need to. I never have. It's like, so I thought, okay, if I had to get a visual reference for what I saw, it was a cross between two public figures that I could easily locate photos of them and then cross-reference so I could paint and do that without, because if I'm trying to think too hard about like getting it right, then it's like the trance state glitches. So it's helpful to have a photo reference and then it's just like I go right into it on autopilot. So that's what I did. And I think it was one of the members of that. Anyway, go see the video because I can't remember who I referenced, but it was two people that I took references. Yeah, it felt like I was what I would be doing if I was down at the police station. That is like, well, did he have a big nose or a big eyes?
Yeah.
So I was doing that. Yeah. However, I've got to say that recently had an experience in a private reading where someone wanted me to paint someone without a photo reference. And I did, and it didn't go well because the person I saw was different to how they remembered them looking. So this is another reason why the photo is really good, because it anchors to make sure that you are channeling the right person. because when you're doing a reading, there are all sorts of spirits that want to come through the door and speak, and the loudest one can often get more airtime. So in this occasion, I wasn't able to access the person they were hoping to reach, and someone much more confident came through, and I don't know who that was. It could have been their aunt or whatever, but I was like, all right, lesson learned. I need a photo reference. That's how I get into the portal.
So probably were you to be hired by, crime people, you would probably be better able to locate the victim rather than identify the perpetrator.
Probably, yes. Yeah. And if I was to identify the perpetrators, I would describe everything else that I was seeing as well, like location and everything, in case that would be helpful to verify. I had an interview with a friend of mine, Sam Herbert, who actually is a forensic psychic and has worked with law enforcement. And that's been a very enlightening experience.
Oh, is that the one you just did with the woman who,
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I saw that and I thought, oh, this will be interesting. Yeah.
Yes. So we actually were just practicing because she hasn't used this format before. And so I was like, why don't we just have a practice, make sure everything works? And then the conversation was so riveting. I was like, can we just press record? And so we had a date lined up for later in the month, and we'll still go ahead and do part 2 of that. But I was like, hang on a sec, Sam, you have so many incredible stories. Let's record this and we'll do another one.
Well, you just said something that I know I extrapolated from what you said. You said you had a date lined up, and my mind said Dateline.
Dateline.
My favorite show. I think that that's exactly the kind of people you should be working with. You could just tune in, right?
Oh, yeah. I started this channel just over a year ago. It was last May. And I just started doing readings of public figures because I was like, this way, everyone knows who I'm talking about. So it'll be great. We all have the same reference point. And though I don't know, like a lot of these things I can't even verify because they might be personal memories, or I can't verify until much later. So yeah, I kind of like that challenge of flying blind and just using my senses.
That's true of most readings. I mean, if you're doing a tarot card reading for somebody and they want to know what's coming up in the next 3 months, well, unless they get back to you and tell you, that really sucked because nothing happened the way you said it was. Unless that happens,
right,
you don't know.
Exactly.
It's a very kind of a vulnerable feeling because you're putting your neck on the line in a lot of ways.
It is very vulnerable. It is. And I'm so glad that I have had the experience of performing live music for the past, I've been doing it since I was a teenager, but I feel like that experience helps me to sort of remember that it's not about me. I am of service. I'm in the service of trying to get to the bottom of something, trying to find clarity, a different way of understanding something that someone's going through. So yes, it does. It definitely, I have a lot of memories to draw from of feeling ashamed when I was little and reading people that weren't ready to hear information and all that stuff. But I've just come to realize that it's just like art, just like any art, anything that makes you feel a little bit vulnerable is probably going to be good, because it means your ego is quaking in its boots and saying, please keep me relevant, protect me, don't make me look like a fool. And it's like, well, I'm prepared to look like a fool if it's going to help someone feel more connected to their loved one, or feel more at peace, or feel just differently about a situation they've been struggling with. I mean, just to feel differently is such a relief sometimes. And
a healthy attitude to have. You said you played live music?
Yes. Yeah.
My experience with live music was taking piano lessons, when I was little, and there'd be a recital periodically, and I'd have to go home and go to bed for 2 weeks afterwards. I just What a nightmare. What
I
a
hated that
nightmare.
too. I played
Oh,
violin from age 6 to
oh,
11. It was awful. It was brutal. And my teacher actually whipped me with the bow. She would smack me on the wrist with it. It was
oh,
horrible.
the nun, I had, of course, had a nun as a teacher. She'd hit me on the fingers with the pencil if I hit the wrong notes. I'd be, you know, and yeah.
How's that supposed to inspire creativity? I don't know. But it's not really creative because you're playing covers, basically. Cover
Oh, I
music.
wouldn't even call it that. I mean, I wasn't that grand. Yeah. But it's very painful unless you're a certain personality type. I think it's very difficult to perform. I don't know
Yeah.
how people get on a stage night after night after night, you know, like they just had the Tonys and these people are up there doing the same play 7 times a week. I would just be I'd be in a straitjacket. I couldn't
And make it feel like it's the first time every time, like you've got amnesia and it's, you know, like
Well,
feel like it's
we intimately know how difficult that is, right?
You're doing an excellent job at being surprised at these stories.
Oh. What did you
Well,
say your name was?
you're getting a little too
I'm
good at this.
I'm riveted by the potential for what what you could do with this. I think being able to provide people with descriptions that can fit a lot of different areas. There's something on the internet. I forget what I saw, but basically, I can tell you who your
Who your
like
soulmate is?
who your soulmate is,
Oh.
and it cracks me up because I've been married a really long time, and if I weren't so unwilling to pay the money, I would do it just to be amused, to see what they came up with. It would crack
Oh
me
my
up.
gosh. How do you just like ensure that you're definitely gonna suffer and break your own heart? I mean, what if you never meet that person? Like, I don't know. That's a lot. That's a lot of
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot to promise people. And I think that it is taking advantage of people's fears and insecurities.
oh
It's
yeah.
really wrong to promise people things that are not true.
Yep.
And I think there is too much of a subset of charlatans out there who do that. I have kind of the reputation for being uh, kind of a bummer because and
It's
I
never gonna happen. Just accept it.
no, I don't, I don't do a lot of personal readings. And it's probably because people have heard my public readings of, figures in the news and stuff. And
Yeah.
I cannot lie if things look bleak. This is what I'm saying. I think
Oh yeah.
it's spiritually like a sin. It's a blow to you
Yes.
spiritually to do that.
Yes.
And a lot of people will tell you what you want to hear.
Oh, well, I had a psychic tell me what I didn't want to hear, and she had no problem doubling down on it too. And she was a very well known one. Very, very
So
well
it,
known.
it didn't come true.
She was talking about my history
Oh.
and my future. And
Yeah.
it really, like, it made me really pause, and it really made me question myself because I really wanted to believe. I mean, I hadn't yet had the courage to come back out a second time and tell everyone that I'm also psychic. So I really had so much invested in her being right and I didn't want to believe that she was a charlatan. And I still don't want to believe that. I want to believe she had a bad day because she went to the dentist and maybe
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah, drugs.
or maybe she was reading someone in the next room but she told me that none of my ex-boyfriends were ready to commit and that I was going to get married to Robert that year and that it was going to be quite a violent marriage. And I was like, okay, do you want to take a minute to like change your answer? And she's like, oh no. And I was like, okay, because I didn't have ex-boyfriends. And she's like, well, why not? What are you waiting for? And it's like, I have ex-girlfriends. And she said,
That's a big fail, huh?
Yeah, it was
On
kind
her
of a
part.
big fail
Yeah.
because, like, I did try to have boyfriends, but I'm in tune with myself enough to know that, like, spiritually, it's more of a spiritual thing for me. It was never a sexuality. It was just like, this lifetime, I'm in relationship with women, and like, it's meant to be that I am also a woman, because that discomfort, it's like that's supposed to be part of the experience too. Is like, from the get-go, I'm supposed to get comfortable with not fitting in, like,
Right, right. The
right, I
challenge of
got to
it.
feel
Yeah.
comfortable in myself. It's not going to be, you know what I mean? So, and I feel like that was kind of excellent preparation for this psychic stuff, which
Yeah.
when I was growing up was like, oh, that's crazy, oh, that's weird. But people were also like very intrigued, you
Yeah.
know, like, oh, but can you read me? But oh, you're crazy. And it's like, well, which is it? Do you trust me or not?
Yeah.
Because I put my whole heart into it. You know, I really, sometimes for a 20-minute reading, I'll go for a whole hour if I feel like it's necessary to get to the bottom of something. I feel like it's worth it. But anyway, what was I talking about? Me again.
Well, we were talking about
That's right.
being told the truth or not. And I think for myself, I'm a realist.
Yeah.
And I never want somebody to lie to me or sugarcoat things to me. I would rather face a difficult truth, and then fear is normal. Fear is a
Right.
survival mechanism, and
Yep.
deal with that. You cannot always avoid fear, but you can certainly learn to have courage in the face of fear. And I think that's our
Absolutely.
challenge in this lifetime. And, we're here witnessing this lifetime, and it's daunting, it's difficult, and if we're all feeling threatened and fear,
Yeah.
okay, that's our starting point. We're not supposed to be trying to avoid it. This is our reality. And
Yeah.
so now what do we do about it? And I think people seek out advice from psychics out of a sense of insecurity or not knowing or fear, and they're hoping that somebody is going to tell them, hey, everything's going to be fine, don't worry, it's going to be great. That's not why you're here. You're not
Oh,
here
no.
to just be happy. You're not here to have no challenges. What kind of soul growth do you have in that kind of an environment? Zero.
Well, when I have gone for readings, I wanted to tune into my own intuition. I wanted something to land, something to resonate. So I had the experience of going to a psychic where they said, oh, everything's going to work out great. Actually, it's going to be wildly successful. And I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. And so I went for a second opinion. And that's why I went to Rosie, and she was like, I see that this is who you are. And actually, you just haven't tried hard enough. You were so burnt by your previous experiences where you need to give it one more push, because this is the thing.
Self-protective.
Right.
Right.
And it was the right timing and the right person, and it resonated. And that was absolutely true. It unlocked the door. Instantly, I knew that I was onto a good thing. The way you know about a good melon when you're at the grocery stores, I just knew it. I had that feeling. The next day I set up my YouTube channel. For the longest time, I feel like I only had 10 subscribers. But within a short amount of time, like now I'm almost at 7,000, which is like, it's quite an escalation in like short amount of time. Like the time is kind of irrelevant. When you're on the right track and you start to get traction and momentum, it's like the whole journey feels good. But that's what I wanted. Was when I went to psychics, I wanted something to resonate. I didn't want them to tell me like, oh, you're wrong or everything's going to work out. I wanted to measure up with what I was hoping for and what I knew to be true. In that reading where the very famous psychic said, oh no, you're going to turn straight this year and you're definitely marrying an abusive husband, I was like, well, hang on, now that you've told me that, there are so many reasons why I would not want that to happen. Like, why would I want an abusive husband? I'm going to make sure that absolutely doesn't
It's,
happen.
that's just kind of gobsmacking. I can't believe
It
that somebody would,
was, and
tell you that.
she doubled down on it, and I was like, that's very quite arrogant as well. Like, now as a reader, I learned so much from that experience. I would never do that. If someone was like, oh, I just want to pause you there, I think you're off the wrong track. I mean, it might change, but like, you know, I would take that into consideration, go, thank you for the redirect, thank you very much, you know, and I would shift it to something else. You don't want to be barking up the wrong tree.
Well, and I think that a lot of it has to do with why people go to a reader at all. And I still think it's for reassurance that everything's going to turn out okay. But
Yeah.
if you're being honest and you go to a reader and you say, tell me what's going to happen in the next 3 months, be prepared, because life is not a fairy tale, and you're not necessarily going to hear horrible bad news, but you're also probably going to be informed about challenges. And there are, that's why we're here. That's the part that I find so difficult to get across, is we're here
Yeah.
for the difficult. We're not here for the easy.
So it's kind of like congratulations either way. Like, yes, you are going to be okay. And yes, there are going to be challenges, and because your soul requested that there be challenges.
Yeah.
So that you're okay, so that you can grow and be strong.
And it is very dependent on your own, the person receiving it, the person giving it, on their particular worldview. And if you are doing a psychic reading, you cannot change your worldview to suit what the person wants to hear. Yeah. And my worldview is that, yes, we're all going to be just fine because we're spiritual beings and we're eternal and we're here for the experience, and we'll have the experience and then we'll go on and we'll be fine. That doesn't mean the experience is going to be fun. You know, and I think people don't want to hear that. And I understand that, because I don't want to hear it either.
Yeah.
It's a struggle facing the reality that life is difficult, and it has great aspects to it. It's not 100% difficult, but you can't pretend, you can't bury your head in the sand. And I have this argument with my friends and family all the time, be realistic. My kids are always saying, oh God, Mom, that's depressing to think that that's going to happen. I can't think about it. And my attitude is, I can't not think about it, because that's why we're here. Yeah,
that's true. I also find a lot of my clientele are intuitive, and there's something comforting in going to a stranger who has no investment in you. They don't, unlike a friend, they don't need to tell you that everything's going to be all right to make sure that, like, because they don't want to hear about it again, or, it's not like they're sticking to a textbook and they're a counselor and they're like, well, have you tried this? And they want someone to take a fresh look with fresh eyes and see what they see. And also, I think that we provide like a certain compassionate counsel to people that are aware of their own intuitive sides, and they want
try not to acknowledge it.
Yeah. And so being in the company of a stranger who also deeply understands like what it feels like to be that sort of black sheep of the family that's really into astrology and no one else is. It's like there's an extra sensitivity there, and sensitivity gets a terrible rap in our society. But honestly,
have you heard about what's it called now? Toxic empathy?
Oh, I've heard of toxic positivity. What's toxic empathy?
They're cousins.
Yeah, that's right. They're
so ridiculous.
Cousins. Well, yeah, now my mind has just been washed blank. Now they said toxic empathy. I'm like,
isn't that shocking? I was talking to a guy who is a humanist, and I had never heard it before. And he was saying, yeah, that's a thing that we're all being advised not to experience. Don't be so empathetic.
Oh,
it's not good for you to be empathetic.
What is the point? Our lives are actually pretty short in the scheme of things. And like, seriously, you can't take material possessions with you. All you can take are memories and the amount of love that you demonstrated and received, and the amount of good quality love, unconditional love, and these people that come into our lives and challenge us, they're blessings in very convincing disguises of burdens and problems and
That's right.
disappointments.
That's
and
right.
It helps. How else do you get stronger and get a beautiful body at the gym if you're not doing those reps
Using
with
it,
weights?
right.
Yeah, and you got to increase the weights. You got to
That's right. Yeah.
That's right.
And
You
it's
got to
what
stretch.
distinguishes us from the lower orders is our ability to feel and to empathize and to what's the word I want, to join with somebody on an emotional level, to really feel that compassion or feel their pain and to understand that. And so what if it is also painful for you? I mean, that we spend too much time trying to avoid difficulty and avoid pain
That
and
is
avoid.
so true. That's so true. And you reminded me of what I just forgot a moment about, was that sensitivity has such a bad rap, but you cannot be a good artist in any medium if you are not sensitive. You can't be a good chef if you don't have sensitive taste buds. You can't be, the things that we really value in our culture that we're so eagerly trying to replace with robots. It's just not the same. And I actually feel like AI is doing us a big favor. It's going to backfire. I feel like it already is, because look, people are going to us, psychics, to get a second opinion about the news because people don't trust the news anymore. So they're like, what is your perspective? I want to hear the news processed through the psychic lens. I want people to, because it feels comforting. It's just so disturbing that we can't process it like robots. We feel it and we don't know what to do with it. We didn't cause it. We can't control it. How are we going to process it? We got to, do it in a productive way. Otherwise, we're just going to get sick.
I'm laughing because this is my ongoing debate with everybody these days.
Yeah.
And AI is something that I have a very strong psychic take on. And the very first time I heard AI, I didn't have any idea what it was. I had such a energetically negative reaction. This is an ongoing debate. And I have to go, and I'd like to end this, but we're going to get back together.
Yes, please.
We're going to figure out what the heck is going on here with the world of the tech gods are in a bad mood today.
Well, before you go, I was just thinking yesterday, what about AI? Can we have robots that are emotionally intelligent, that can feel our feelings, please? Because I feel way too much. I don't want to feel all this. Can I get a robot to feel my feelings for me?
No, and I'm laughing here because I've got some bad news for you. They're training AI to do these sorts of psychic things. I knew you'd like that. Yeah, the people are using them for counseling. People are having, I forget the term for it, but they're
relationships with
yeah, psychotic breaks because they're beginning to think these AI things are real, and I'm very anti, but I'm a Luddite, so I have to go. I'm so sorry to do this. We've been trying several different times this morning to make a video, and if all things had been equal, this would have been 2 hours. So
that's true. Well, let's keep the conversation going. It's absolutely delightful talking with you. And next time, I hope we can get into more Taurian subjects. What are you growing in your vegetable patch? What are you cooking? That kind of thing. I'm sure you have a lot to say.
Well, my favorite recipe, microwave for 10 seconds. I bet you love that. All right. Thank you so much, Elspeth. And everybody, I'll put your information at the bottom of the description, and everybody subscribe to your channel and look at your website and watch your videos because they're fascinating. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Goodbye.
My pleasure. I don't know who's having who, but okay.